Hey everybody, welcome back to Generation X Nation, otherwise known as Gen X Nation. I'm not going to take much of your time today. I'm going to make this video as quick as possible, but I do want to go over that show that keeps giving me every week, that Love and Marriage Huntsville. I promise you, that show, if you're trying to get into it's just a show that never stops. I will give Carlos King his props. I know a lot of people have their opinions of Carlos and everything. But hey, if the show wasn't as interesting as it is, maybe so many people wouldn't talk about it. Even though a lot of people say they don't like it and they're going to ban it and boycott, they still tune in. And it has, a lot of interest across the YouTube streets and these internet streets. Um, I know Carlos recently did an interview, and I can't remember. I think it was So Gucci, and Maurice was on the interview. I didn't watch it. Apparently, there were some issues where So Gucci said something I guess Carlos didn't like. I think the video was took down, maybe edited. Again, I did not see the video. Like I say, I hear things and see stuff on social media, but I don't always have time to watch videos like that. Um, there was also I guess a trip that Carlos and the Scots went on behalf of OWN Network to California, and I seen a picture, and they went to the NAACP Awards or something. That was a couple of weeks back. And then a lot of people are talking about this last episode that happened on Saturday, and I think that's the heat right there. So much was going on in that episode between Marsau, Martell, and Destiny. But I'm not going to talk about all the stuff that they said back and forth, who was cheating, give me $50,000, show me the text messages, because I think that's been covered enough. At this point, I'm pretty much in agreement that maybe the Scots did do some things behind their wives' back. But the difference between the Scots and Martell, as everybody knows, the Scots knew how to do, I guess, respectful cheating, as y'all like to call it, destiny, and they made sure their side pieces didn't show up and harm or threaten or call their wives. So if they did cheat, they made sure they cheated correctly. Not saying cheating is wrong, and I'm not condoning it. And again, this channel is, in my opinion, is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. I'm not saying the Scots cheated, but if we believe the narrative that's putting out there, they must have did it better than you, Martell. Because at the end of the day, their families are still intact, and you over there mad, pouting in a corner because you tore your family apart. So don't get mad at the Scots because they're still together and start trying to air their dirty laundry. You know what I'm saying? You should have been focused on your family more than focusing on them. Now, I titled this video Marsau, you might want to be careful. I'm sorry, not Marceau, Martell. Marceau is coming for your crown. And I don't mean literally he's coming like to physically harm you, but he's coming for your crown, excuse me, out in these streets. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are starting to see Marceau differently. We're seeing him in a different light. I always, and you can go back to the very first video I ever made about the guys, the show, whatever. I've always liked Marceau and Tisha. Don't always agree with their dynamics, but it's not my marriage. Okay? And two, I only judge them by what I see on the screen. I don't know them personally. I probably, if I met both of them in person, I would probably be just as happy to see them as anybody else in the cast. Because again, I don't have a dog in this fight, as I like to say. We here in Generation X Nation or Gen X, again, we have a different point of view on things. We don't always think the way this new generation thinks. And I like to give you a take from where we stand as an older generation. And that's what I mean by I don't have a dog in this fight. I judge the people by what I see on the TV screen. What they do on their off time is none of my business. I don't do research. I don't try to figure out who going to jail, who ain't going to jail, who's been sued, who's not being sued. I know that's all out there. And at the end of the day, as you become older and part of the older generation in this world, you'll realize that none of that stuff really matters. But it makes good news for people. It makes good topics for people, and they make money off reporting it. So I'm not knocking anybody. Please don't come after me. I'm not knocking anybody, but I'm going to tell you straight up how I see things based on what they give me back off of the television screen. Been around a minute. I've been watching reality TV shows for a long time. And I will say this one, is probably the one that I probably spent the most time ever watching or got really involved in. A lot of times when I watch reality TV, if I see something I don't like, I click off. And there was a couple of shows back in the day that did some very nasty stuff um, to people of color. And I just stopped watching it because I felt the producers or somebody should have stopped it and they didn't. So that's how I go with reality TV. If I see something I don't like, I tune off. I don't like to see people being disrespected and stuff on TV. Although this show does have some of those parts in it. With that being said, I'm going to say Martell, Marsau is coming for your crown. And what I mean again by that is people are taking a liking to Marceau. I've liked Marceau and Letitia, as I said, from day one. I like the core three, the core six from day one. I don't always agree with what they do. I think Kimmy and Maurice could give me more. I think Letitia and Marceau can give me more. And I think this season, Marceau is really trying to do that. And what I mean by him taking over your crown, if you notice, there's a video out Carlos just put out with the Scotts and he's doing an interview, and I think it was after the award show, but for some reason he's just posting it. Um, I will give Carlos his credit where he did try to help you, Martell. I mean, he was taking you around on interviews. People was joking about, Carlos likes Martell. He got a crush on Martell. He was trying to help you get your image on track after all of the stuff that was coming out. But you didn't give him nothing to work with because he would take you to a reputable place to do an interview or to do a sighting or an event. And then you go back home and you would go do something stupid to your wife that would end up back on the internet. So you wasn't helping your reputation, which means that you either don't care or you're just stupid. And I don't like calling people stupid, but it got to be one or the other, okay? He took you to interviews and things like that, but to me, you let your pride and your disrespect contribute to your own downfall, along with not controlling that bird. Again, I don't like calling her name Ariane Curry, but for this segment, I'm going to call her a bird. Not controlling that bird and keeping her mouth shut. Because there's no way in the world you could tell me that all the stuff she was saying over the past summer this year on the internet with that lady, original straight, no chaser, no disrespect to her. I don't want no smoke from nobody. But all those interviews she released, and Ariane talking about your ex-wife, the kids, and saying some very personal things that only you could have told her during pillow talk, but because she don't know Melanie. So everything she was saying was coming directly from you. And since she's so head over heels with you because you done love bombed her, she believes anything you say. I get it. We all been young before. Ariana's not going through something that thousands of other women in America hasn't been through. She'll learn eventually. She may get it now. She may not get it 10 years later, but she'll realize that you're a fraud. But for now, you're her world. You are her world. She kind of contribute to your downfall. And I don't think you really understood how I was projecting back to the audience. So, again, not going through the whole process of your divorce, and everybody knows how it happened, but we looked at the aftermath and how you carried yourself. Divorces are ugly. We know, people fight during divorce. The father says this, the mother says that. But y'all fights got really, really bad to where you tried to set your wife up to make her really look bad and expose her to the public in such a private way. People just, sometimes you don't come back from that. I mean, people are forgiven, but you got to give us time to forgive you. And the reason you haven't been forgiven, because again, after all that was said and done, you still drag her into court. Your bird still gets on the social medias and still talks stuff about her. It's like, it just didn't work. So your popularity and your space on that show, which you and Mel came out as the king and queen of Huntsville. Let's just be real. Y'all came out, as we say, sharp as a tack. Okay, y'all came out your little outfits, your gowns, your suits, and y'all were the power couple looking absolutely gorgeous. Okay? And that's what we was looking at. Wow, this is a great couple. We didn't expect y'all to be perfect. We knew some things was going on from the first episode. But we thought you at least worked through it. And when it ended so terribly. It was just ridiculous, you know? So that um, kind of, contributed to your demise on the show, along with Angry Destiny. I've never met a woman in my life that just angry every day for no reason at people who had done nothing to her, just angry. That people did no more than try to be her friend. And I get it. I'm not saying Mel's perfect. Mel got her ways about her. But at some point, I don't blame her. I'm like, what do you want from me? Damn. Every time I tell you something, you run back and tell my ex-husband, yes, I'm going to cut you off. And I'm going to do it, especially after I've been a friend to you. And then you turn around and do this to me. So as a Gen Xer, I don't blame Melly. I'd have cut her behind off too. Because that don't even make no sense. So I think that's contributing it once again to your downfall. I'm sure, and again, I don't live in Huntsville, but I'm sure people look at you side-eyed in Huntsville. You said you were born and raised and you're from there, so that means that most of the town know you. And most of the people by now know the show goes on. And most of the people by now probably looking at you sideways. And there's probably a lot of women in Huntsville who keeping their mouth shut, who probably messed with you while you was married and just hadn't said anything out of respect for Melanie. Because they probably figure, she's been through enough. Because according to you and according to the streets of Huntsville and how you portray yourself, I don't think the bird is the only one you've messed with, and Tisha either. Trisha, I'm sorry, not Tisha, Trisha. Um, it's just sad that at the end of the day, you had this great setup that could have projected your career even farther, you and your family, and built your generational wealth. And you fumbled the bag so bad, it's ridiculous over a bird. And then you turn around and get mad because you got caught. And now you try and destroy these other people's marriages. And again, I'm not saying the Scots are perfect, but they're smart enough to keep their skeletons buried. Okay? They're smart enough to keep them skeletons buried in a closet somewhere. Whoever they may or allegedly mess with or didn't mess with is smart enough to keep their mouth shut. So they covered their bases. You, on hand, got a loudmouth bird who fell in love with you. And in her mind, you were her man. She didn't care about you being somebody's husband. You were her man, and she had the right to call the house, do whatever she wanted to. And that's why people treat you the way they do today, because they feel a certain way, like you allowed the side piece to get disrespectful. And that's where the line is crossed. I'm not saying you need to have a side piece. I don't think nobody should be cheating. But if you're going to cheat, you need to make sure she knows her position. And that girl did not play her position. And that's what happened to you. And your bag is now fumbled. Now, the Scots, oh my, I'm just saying it. The Scots they in it to win it. The Scots are in it to win it. If you notice on this show, I'm gonna say like the show Survivor. I used to watch that years ago. I don't know, for some reason I just stopped watching it, stopped piquing my interest. I think there was a season where there was some people on the island that was making some racist remarks and I didn't like, and the host Jeff didn't do anything about it, and then I cut it off. I don't contribute to stuff like that. But I'm gonna use Huntsville as the ultimate survivor. Okay? The Scots are the ultimate survivor. Because guess what? Tiffany and her husband came and left. Stormy and her husband came and left. The Scots still standing strong. You and Melody divorced. The Scots still standing strong. Okay? Destiny divorced. The Scots still standing strong. Okay? Now you got new people on the show. The Scots still standing strong. They are the ultimate survivor of Huntsville. You can say what you want to say. The Scots did not get kicked off the island, but guess who did? Martell. Now, Melody will always be the queen of Huntsville for now until she gives the reign to Letitia, because I think Tisha is next up. That's why I always called her the lady in waiting, because Stormy was the princess, but Stormy couldn't hang in there long enough. She had to go, which is her business, allegedly, which is her business. She had to go take care of stuff. She didn't want to be on the show no more. Tisha's the next one up. Now, I know some people think, oh, Tisha, she's not like Mel. She can't handle it, whatever. Tisha and Mel are different. The difference between Tisha and Mel, Tisha has a soft life and she loves it. She probably should be more fitted for the Real Housewives, because she ain't trying to do hard labor. Okay? She'll run a little business here, run a little business there, but she gonna let Marsau do it. Marsau Old school guy wants his wife at home raising the kids, and he'll take care of the rest. Okay. Can't be mad at him. That's the arrangement, and that's what they signed up for. Fine. We just watched the housewives say the same thing the other night. Wendy Acefo says she don't pay no bills. Her husband do it all. Okay? So, and the other girl that's getting divorced, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, she said the same exact thing. So it's not like that doesn't happen. And Tisha just happened to be in a marriage just like that. Now, did Marsau see a diamond in the rough when he met Tisha? Absolutely. He said it in the first season, the first couple episodes. Tisha was from across the tracks. He made sure he let us know that he was just a step above Tisha. So he felt like he upgraded Tisha. He don't think Tisha upgraded him. In his mind, he upgraded Tisha. And Tisha may feel that way because he may have made her believe that, even though she got about 9 degrees. And so in that sense, she accepts whatever Marcel gives. But I think behind closed doors, Tisha speaks her mind. And the reason I say that is because she didn't have no problems bucking up on Dr. Shanita when Shanita got under her skin. So don't discount Tisha as not having a backbone. She's just a person that she speaks when she needs to. Other than that, she'll let stuff slide off her head, just slide by for a while. But when it get under her skin, she'll speak. And I think Marcel knows that. But they play it up for the camera. She know her character on the show is the housewife who raised the kids and help out a little bit in the business. And they play it up. When that camera goes off, I bet Tisha sometimes, just like Miss Wanda, get up in Marcel's business. Okay? But they are the ultimate survivors. I just feel like they outplayed, outwitted, and outlast most of everybody else. Okay? Martell, you lost the challenge. They pretty much about to want to vote you off the island. There must be some legal reasons why they can't. But if they had the opportunity to vote you off the island, Martell, you be going off that show. And little dust bucket will be falling right behind you, Angry Destiny. She'll be falling right behind you. Because without Sunny, what is her storyline? Apparently, she's out here mad at people because they said her and Miss Nell's son got something going on. Again, I see highlights. I don't really listen to a lot of stuff. So if she not with Nell's son, Moses is in jail. And Sonny is, pretty much back in St. Louis. What is your purpose, Destiny? Unless you Martell's little side piece or snitch or spy, because you're the only one that can go between him and Mel right now. And if I was Mel, I'd cut you off. Because I really believe that's what Martell is using you for, to go between him and Mel. You go over there, you get chummy up with Mel, get all the info, and run back and tell Martell what she doing. Martell could know everything Mel doing if he wasn't messing around with that bird and got her pregnant. He wouldn't have to use you for that. So I don't know why you do that. And you won't ever tell him that. And I'm glad Marceau stood up to him in that park and said what he said, because he continued to send these allegations against the Scots and what they're doing. And if you notice one thing during the argument, Maurice didn't say nothing. He just sat there. That makes me think Maurice may be somewhat guilty of certain things. But again, this is all alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. I think the Scots are coming for Marceau. Scott is coming for Martell's crown. And Carlos is helping, because Carlos is taking him out now. You know how he's giving them more interviews. He's giving them more TV time, more camera time, and things of that nature. The same thing he used to do for you, Martell. But he's realizing, what they say, you could put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. He can't clean you up. You wear a good suit, but that history still follows you. That history still follows you. And then for you to show up at that place with that girl, it was like that polo event with the bird, that just made people angry all over again. I think they would be okay if you moved on with somebody else, a regular schmegular lady or something, just anybody but her. Because every time they see her, they see the hurt and the pain that she caused your ex-wife and your family. And they would never let you live that down as long as you're sitting there with her. Because you have the right to live your life and go date somebody else. But they just don't want to see you with her. But if you love her that much, go on and marry her. Because every time you're on TV, you don't seem to claim her. But she's still happy being a bird. And you're sitting there saying you ain't had a girlfriend in I don't know how many years, but yet you made a baby. I'm confused. I'm confused. So really, was she just the person you go dumpster diving in at night when you can't find nobody else? She's always open and ready, like 7-Eleven, as they say. It just doesn't make sense. So with that being said, I want y'all to notice how Marsau is starting to rebuild, rebrand, which is absolutely great for him. He won me over since day one. Like I said, I ain't never not like Marsau or Letitia or the Scots, but I still love Melly. Don't think I don't. Jump on me like, oh, I don't hate. Never hated Stormy. Never had an issue with Melody because I don't know these people. I think Melody is will always be the Queen of Huntsville until she walks away and give that title to somebody else, which I think Letitia, whether y'all like it or not, I think Letitia's a good person. I think Letitia takes a lot of heat because of how her mother acted. I think if her mother had came in so strong and been so rude and disrespectful and continue to do that on these YouTube streets to people, again, I don't watch Miss Wanda's channel. None against anybody else. I just don't. But there are some content creators I do watch that I think, make, I'm a logical thinker, so I have to listen to people who really make sense to me. And I think that's what really hurt her. Destiny, every time you on YouTube, according to the people in the streets, your Mental Mondays is all about Melody. And believe it or not, I've never watched one of her Mental Mondays. I've seen clips, but I never watched a full episode because you're not talking about nothing. And I don't know who your therapist is, but I don't know how they work. Is your whole mental health issue has to do with Melody? There's nothing about trauma for not being around your mom, your father being sick, being divorced, having to be a single parent, getting your finances. None of that helps. None of that contributes to your mental stability. The only thing that contributes to your mental stability and getting your life together is your relationship with Melody. That's the only thing that's stressing you out. Doesn't make sense, Destiny. It just doesn't. Um, and with that being said, I just want to discuss that because that's what I noticed in this whole thing. The argument in the park at the game day, Marsau going back with Martell. I think Marsau is done with Martell. Martell's the same old way, just not taking accountability for nothing. He's that kid that, oh, well, I did it, but you did it too. Always pointing back and forth, never taking ownership of his part. So if you say, hey, did you steal some candy? I stole some candy, but he stole some candy too. That's who Martell is. He's a snitch. And if you haven't figured it out by now, so be it. He's a snitch. Those aren't the people you want to be around. Marsau, I'm telling you, keep doing what you're doing. Carlos is doing a good job putting you out there. I've been hearing people and watching the show, and I look at comments. I read comments a lot, and it seems like to me people are actually understanding you. And what Marsau should do is take a note out of your book of how you flip the script a little bit, adjusted your personality a little bit and change and start being more truthful and upfront in your comments. And people like, hey, it's not about you hating Martell or hating this person. It's about we're seeing you as the voice of reason, the only male in the show with the voice of reason. And we thought that would be Chris Fletcher, but he just sits back and says nothing. You're the voice of reason. You're very truthful. And again, I know people say you still don't tell a lot about your family dynamics, whatever. And hopefully we'll get to that. I don't need to be all deep into your family, but yeah, we'll get to that sooner or later. But I do see you as a person who is about his business, and you're trying, whether you succeed or not, I see you trying to build that empire that you envisioned, that you dreamed of, and you're working hard to do it. And I know there was a time months ago where you would get on social media and just go off on people and stuff like that. But I see more this season where you're a little bit more focused. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I guess you realize, hey, it's not worth it. We need to focus on building our empire for our children, our legacy, and keep it pushing. I think some people don't like you because they may feel you a little arrogant, whatever. But I get it. You have a hustler mentality. You have a hustle, and ain't nothing wrong with that. You supposed to keep grinding. Martell, if he had a hustler mentality, he'd be farther ahead than what he is. He too busy in the mess, like these women out here. Too busy in the mess. What Mel say? What Mel doing? You know, if you want to know what Mel say and what Mel doing, then maybe you should have left the bird alone and stayed in the household with your family. You could see what she doing, saying all day. When I say you fumbled the bag, Martell fumbled the bag, look at where she's at. You have to be at home beating yourself in the head when you see her on TikTok, when you see her with Lisa Ray, when you see her with Nick Cannon, Miguel Nunez, when you see her get an award show, for you supposed to have been standing right next to her when she won that reality TV award. You were supposed to be standing right next to her. You should have been nominated for the Man of the Year for reality TV. You blew it. And all you got left to do is to drag her in and out of court because your feelings is hurt. Because you feel humiliated. Not what you did to her. She shouldn't feel humiliated, but you should. And I got to give her props for living her truth on the internet for people to see, because I probably couldn't do it. And I can tell most of those people down there wouldn't have done it. But Martell, I'm going to tell you right now, move over, because Marsau is coming for your crown. All right. And with that being said, this is Gen X Nation. I'm giving you my commentary from a different perspective. I don't get into all of the fights a lot of times, the court issues and things of that nature, because enough people cover that. I try to go more into what the people are doing, how it's coming off, things of that nature. But with that being said, if you like my channel, please like and subscribe. I do have a few subscribers now, so I'm excited, but I do need to get those numbers up. Like the channel, leave a comment. I'm still building. I'm going to do better as time goes along, but I don't want to invest a lot of money into different streaming services if I can't get these YouTube videos to be going through these algorithms and start getting more views and plays. So when that happens, of course, I will definitely upgrade the equipment that I'm using. But other than that, I appreciate everybody who do take the time to listen. I know I'm not the one that's screaming and cussing all the time, but there are some videos that I did go off on because it got under my skin. But I don't always do all the screaming and the cussing like some of the other people do, and nothing wrong with that. That's how they operate. Okay. And I definitely want everybody to share the video if you like it, from my perspective. But think about it. Think about all this, the shows that you've seen on Love and Marriage Huntsville. Think about the moves that you see being made, and think about who face is now becoming the face of the show. It's the Scots. And I ain't mad at the Scots. I'm not mad at them, because guess what? They still there. The ultimate survivors outside of Melody, they hung in there. They didn't give up. Everybody else down there couldn't take it. They stood that heat and stood in the kitchen. Got to give them their props. Okay. With that being said, you guys have a great, wonderful rest of your day. And as I always say, Gen X Nation out.